It's great to be here, and thank you for all the people who have worked together at World Music Institute to bring us together once again for the World Music Institute at Home sessions. Tonight, I'll be your host. As you know, my name is Jay Loomis, and we have with us Edmar Castaneda, harpist from Colombia, and I just want to reach out a hand and say welcome, Edmar, and thank you for being here. I know you're a very busy artist, touring and recording and composing and arranging and playing, and it would be great if we could hear some of your music right away, right now, if you wouldn't mind introducing what you're going to play. And I think you're on mute, so you need to unmute yourself. Yeah. Thank you. Welcome, and I'd love to hear about what you're going to play for us.
Good, man. Good to see you, man. Good to be here. Good to be sharing music with all of you guys. And I'm going to start with a piece that I try to mix a little bit of this traditional llanera music with some improvisation, love, passion. And this is titled Entre Cuerdas, Between Strings.
Amazing, amazing, wonderful.
Good,
Thank you, Edmar.
it's a good warm up.
That is quite a warm up. And um, so, is that a piece that you composed?
Yes, it's a tune titled Entre Cuerdas, between strings, and I try to mix a little bit of everything I have live in this city in New York. I'm from Colombia, but I brought this traditional music, llanera music,
Mhm.
traditional music from Colombia and Venezuela, and I mix it with this city.
What wonderful. So it's interesting that you would mention that this is a mix. It's a composition that you've made that is uh, composed drawing from a variety of traditions from Colombia, llanera music, and also from your work as a musician here in New York City, and around there. When I was listening to it, I got the sense of, it felt like I was on a journey, like I was going on a trip with you. I'm not sure if it was the ostinatos, all those repeated patterns in the beginning that came back several times throughout the piece. Maybe that reminded me of water. I'm not sure. Is that part of your intention? Is think of this piece like a journey?
Yeah, every tune that I play is a journey. I try to bring something new and to bring something, yeah, a story for the people. I usually, I don't know, it depends on what I'm living in that moment. I just try to play that. It could be going to Brazil and we I put a little of samba there too. So you don't know. It's whatever is in my heart, man.
Wonderful, wonderful. It was beautiful. And I'm looking forward to talking about the many journeys that I know you've been on as a musician, a world touring musician. But before we dive into that, I'd like to hear a little bit more about llanera music from Colombia. Is that the same as joropo?
Llanera music is música llanera music from the plains of Colombia and Venezuela. Long time ago, Colombia and Venezuela and I believe Ecuador was one country, the Gran Colombia. So they got separate, all this political stuff. So part of that music stayed on Colombia and the other part stayed with Venezuela. But it's the same joropo, it's the same harp, it's the same instruments. We share this beautiful music, called joropo or llanera music.
Excellent. So as you know, when I was preparing to talk to you, because I'm fascinated by, I looked you up on YouTube. I saw your website is excellent. You have a lot of music so accessible on your website. I would definitely suggest everybody after this interview, please check it out because you can listen to so many different styles that Edmar plays, and also online on YouTube you can hear and you'll see Edmar playing for NPR, Edmar playing for jazz in jazz settings. You'll see him playing in many different styles and situations, and there's so many stories there that I know we don't have time to hear all of them now, but I would love to hear a little bit more about joropo. I think one of the pieces that you have on the playlist that you sent out also, which I loved, is of more of a traditional joropo style. Is that correct? Pajarilla or?
Yeah, pajarillos is one of the golpes or one of the rhythms, like say in Cuba you have cha-cha-cha, you have timba, you have different ones, danzón. In Colombia, when the llanera music, we have this called a pajarillo, kirpa. There's many ones, different chord progression. So this
Okay.
one pajarillo is very popular. People sing on that. You can improvise. You can do a lot of stuff with that rhythm, and it's very groovy.
Okay. Could we hear a little bit of that?
Actually, I can play you a piece of traditional how it usually sounds. Yeah. So,
Wonderful. That'd be great.
so I will turn off the bass and I'm just gonna play traditional harp for that. Okay.
Awesome.
that would be without bass and like very traditional. The same thing with what I add to the harp, it will sound like this.
Okay.
So that's the two different. So you can understand, the little thing that I try to do with the harp, making sound the harp like two or three instruments, playing bass with his hand and piano or guitar with his hand.
Mm-hmm. So bass, piano, guitar in one instrument.
Yes, two or three at the same time, man.
Okay, so that was great. I'm curious about how, for you as an artist and a composer and a performer, when you're mixing styles together, like you mentioned, you embellished, you turned the bass off for us in the beginning so we could hear the higher notes more clearly, and then you turned the bass back on. And do you think it's the bass notes, the bass lines, that is an important part of that fusion that you were discussing?
Usually, the harpists play without bass. You have a bass player with you, and it's very more percussive, and you play more like this with his hand. No, never bass. It's,
Mhm.
So when I arrived to New York, I was like working in a restaurant, playing my gig, and I was studying trumpet in college. I was learning all this jazz, and I was so inspired by all the jazz players. So on that restaurant, I was trying to see how I can play all the parts. How can I play bolero? So I studied the bass, I studied the piano. I said, okay, let me put on the harp. Let's see how it sounds. And that's how I start everything. Because I came from Colombia with this traditional music without bass. And then I came to work on this restaurant with all this inspiration and information from college. And I say, oh, let me incorporate that on the harp, on this gig every day. So that restaurant was like my school for this harp. And I start doing all these lines, and then little by little, you get inspired by African, by Moroccan music, by Brazilian. So I just incorporate my roots, llanera music, with whatever I learned in the city. But the bass lines, yeah, is something that it changed the whole thing around.
Mm-hmm. So I'm still interested in your roots. You mentioned again the llanera music, joropo. I saw some videos of some really young joropo harp players in Colombia. Like, I don't know, it looked maybe like they're 10-year-old
I'm
young boy just playing his heart out, and the
you
adults were gathered around him, cheering him on. People were dancing. It seemed like a very welcoming, encouraging atmosphere. Is that something that resonates with your experience?
know, Colombian Venezuela is traditional. It's like since you're born, they give you maracas, they give you cuatro or harp, and everybody plays. It's natural, very
Yeah.
natural. So the first time I met the harp, because I'm from the capital, Bogota, this music is not from there. So my mom, one day, she had to work really hard. So on Saturdays, she had to work, and she said to my sister, "Hey, you going to this school? I got a scholarship. You go and dance. You're gonna dance folk music." We went there with my sister, and that was the first time I saw the harp, in this school in Bogota of llanera music. And I was like, wow, man, this is amazing. This instrument, I want to play this. I feel that I was born to play the harp, in that day when I was 7. And then when I was 13, I finally got a harp because of my aunt, and I haven't stopped playing, man.
Wow. So when you were 7 years old, you saw the harp and it grabbed your attention, but wasn't for 5, 6 years later that you actually played one?
Yeah, because I didn't have money to buy a harp, and otherwise I would be playing since 2 months.
But you had maracas, you were playing other instruments that young?
I play maracas. I play the cuatro. It's like a 4-string ukulele, let's say like that.
Mhm.
I dance. I play bass. I play all the let's say the rules of this music. And in Bogota, there's places where you go every Saturday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to hear this music and to eat meat.
Okay.
So it's like a cowboy tradition, this music. So you play there maybe 7 hours straight, and people eat and dance, and we just play and jam.
Wow.
What
This
I
is
do, I did it on maracas. I never did it on harp,
okay.
but I memorized everything that the harper was doing. And I was like, oh man, this is killing.
Yeah, yeah. So and this was an outdoor affair. Would these be outdoor parties?
This was like a very traditional asaderos. It's like
Barbecue.
made of wood, and then just cook meat outside with really like how they cook on, and then music playing and people drinking, dancing. It's really a whole culture. It's like a music from Texas.
Okay.
Dance. All these things.
So there was a llanera or joropo culture in Bogota.
Yeah, there's amazing schools like 200 people playing harp and dancing, and there's contests. The people come. There's a big contest in Villavicencio. That's the city of this music,
Hmm.
and all from Venezuela and every town come with their own groups, and they just compete. Who is the best group? With
Wow.
little kids, man, playing like wow,
Yeah, yeah. And,
beautiful.
and you were one of them, and now you're in New York, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm in the capital.
Congratulations. Yeah, it New York is a mecca for so many different musics. People want to be here to learn and play and share and combine sounds and
Yeah, I think it's a city that gives so much for you. You have opportunity to do whatever you want, but you have to be strong. You have to
mhm,
be strong because it's you do it, and the moment that you have to do it, there's no second chance. So
yeah.
it's a good city because it puts you. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here with this instrument.
Awesome. Well, good. Let's talk about the instrument a little bit. We have some questions from some of the attendees. Thank you for sending your questions out. Please keep them coming. We want you to have a chance to interact directly also with Edmar. And they are asking about the harp. It is an extraordinary instrument. It caught your attention at 7 years old. And see, I'm just going to read these to you. So as a harpist, here's a question: do you stand up when you play the harp? Is that something you always do? What's the situation there?
Okay, so let me give you a little background of harp. In South America, we have different kinds of harp. Colombia and Venezuela, we have this harp. You go to Mexico, there's a different harp. You go to Peru, there's a different totally harp. Paraguay, Chile, and Argentina, they share the same Paraguayan harp and a different way of playing it. So each one has a different on a, like amount of strings, different tension, different way of playing it. I stand usually you stand with this harp. There's people now that they sit with this harp. For me, it's fun because I can move. It's something natural that comes in me. So I sit. I cannot. It's like I'm tight. I know classical harpists. They play sit. You cannot stand on that. So on this one, you can play either way.
Okay, so either standing up or sitting down. One thing I've noticed and found extraordinary about your playing is at times it seems like you're dancing with the harp.
Yeah, that's what they say. I don't know. I don't rehearsal this. Let's say I just go with the music, and I don't know. It's natural. It's fun.
Awesome. All right, so we've got a few more harp questions. So how many strings do we have?
Traditional, the Janeta harp has 32 nylon strings. I add two more, and to this harp. This is a version of that. It was built with a French company, Camac. We built this instrument. And it's trying to. Usually, the traditional harp doesn't have these levers, this little
Okay.
thing. Usually, the traditional harp has only the white keys of the piano, no black keys. So this is like the black keys. So if you play a C and you move the lever up, it's the sharp. So you
Gotcha.
have more options to move and to compose and to play. So we create this instrument, and I changed a lot of stuff of a traditional harp with the size and the sound of the traditional harp,
Okay,
but
so
more strings.
when did your partnership with Kamak, when did that start?
Eh, I don't remember, but a couple years ago, maybe let's see, 17, maybe 13, 14 years.
Okay,
We
great.
worked on this instrument maybe 5 years, doing prototypes and prototypes until we got the right one, you know.
So you went to them after your experience playing harp in Latin America and in New York, and you realized you wanted a harp with some new options. What? How did that work?
I came with the traditional harp from Colombia, and then I started every year coming back to New York, to Colombia, to change something. So I went to the luthiers and said, okay, just cut here, put this. Usually the harp in here has 3 holes in front. So I say, no,
Okay.
let's put the holes in the back and let's leave this like straight. I changed this shape of the harp, the curve, uh, and that's what I did for many years. And then I met Kamak or Jacques, a good friend of mine, the owner of this company, and I say, man, I really would love to see if we can put levers on this instrument. And he said, let's do it. So they copy what I had and they fix it and they put the levers. And
Okay.
it's really a great collaboration. I'm so thankful for them and to play this instrument.
And that came about from your years of experience playing. You just realized you wanted some new functionality.
Yeah, because you with the other harp you get stuck in how you have to stop to retune. It's very limited.
Yeah.
With levers you have more options to go and quick tune, retune. And
Gotcha.
you can move the levers when you are playing on also, so it gives a different color. It's not titanic instrument. So it was a dream. I think all the harpists wanted to also that, and many I think tried before.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to hear a little bit, yeah, maybe because I noticed in when you're playing it Entre Cuerdas, you did make some adjustment in the middle of a phrase or something. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I try to move. I can play something that I use a little more of that, and it's actually like I retune the harp in half, this different key and in a different mode.
Okay.
And then the solo, I move a little bit of stuff. It's I'm trying, these new things with the levers,
Yeah.
and actually this tune is inspired by Jaco Pastorius, an amazing bass player, and I love to get the harmonics and all these chromaticisms by him. So this is titled for Jaco.
Ole, 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 ole.
Right, that was for Jaco, man.
Yeah, amazing. And I definitely hear you mentioned chromaticism, right? Before you started playing that the levers give you some options to.
Yeah, you can change the colors. You can do quick. You have to be really quick. Like I said, I just started playing around with that. Sometimes I see guys in Colombia doing this stuff with this harp. Now they got it there, and it's so great to see the amazing stuff they're trying to do with the levers. It's like, wow, this is gonna something really good is coming for this instrument. I'm so happy.
Okay, so your contribution to the instrument is getting back around to other llanero and
Yeah, yes,
artists.
it's really to see a traditional, famous singer in Colombia and see the harpist, young guy, amazing guy playing with this instrument, the same instrument, using the levers, using in the music you hear how they modulate. It's like, wow, this is a dream coming true, for me. So I'm so happy to give a little bit of whatever, for them.
Hey, that's great. I noticed also that you, besides moving the levers, there are some other extended techniques that you kind of explore. It seems like you bend some of the notes. I'm not sure how you did that. I don't know if you were pressing on the.
Yeah, I just playing around, you do the like bass,
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Ah,
Nice.
the harmonics, that's you can do different harmonics with the one hand, like.
Nice.
That was Yaku, Yaku is a master.
I also noticed you were at some points you put your hand on the resonating cavity of the harp.
So that's the way you traditional we do it without the levers. You
Okay.
like, for example, let me return this harp here. So if you're playing with the finger, you blend the string half step up. So this is an F, right? And then
Yeah.
you up.
Okay.
So you do this.
Mm.
Now with the levers. See, you're in a different key, and you can play around with that.
Oh, that
Traditional, one string at a time, and it doesn't stay.
sounds beautiful, Edmar. And you're getting a lot of love from the participants who are sending. They keep sending questions, which is great. Thank you, everybody, for sending questions. And we're going to give a good 15 minutes or so to the Q&A. So we'll definitely get to your questions. Keep them coming. And there's one more thing that I noticed that you just demonstrated to us. So when you change the note with the lever, you maintain the resonance, but when you stop the string with your finger on the resonant cavity,
Yeah, you
it,
come back
it
to
mutes
the.
it, right? Yeah.
It gives a half step up, but really quick.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Nice.
So you
Yeah.
quick with the finger.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Traditional technique for Colombia and Venezuela.
And I do also want to thank one of our participants. He mentioned, I think it was a he, that the gain might be a little bit high on the harp and that it seems to distort when it gets louder.
Okay, now lows, or I put it right here. It is better. Let's see.
Yeah, yeah. I noticed it distorting a little bit too. I think we're good. I think
I think now will be okay. Let's try this.
nice. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes, yes, thank you. All right, so before we dive into some of the questions, man, I have a bunch for you. And I sincerely hope someday we can have a coffee or a beer or something to hang out and just talk about more of this because just amazing what you're doing. Thank you so much for sharing your tradition and your music and your love of the sound and the instrument with us. Um, I guess I'd like to hear a little bit about some of your mentors in music, you know, from maybe from your father in Colombia, I think was an important part of your musical tradition, then Paquito de Rivera, and some of the people who received you here in New York and on the jazz scene. It would be great to hear about that.
Yes, first of all, uh, I play the harp because it's a gift from God. It's a gift that I can bring His presence to people.
Mm,
After that, my dad is a great musician and a great harpist that gave me so much inspiration. I never lived with him, but we had a couple times too, and he taught me how to play the cuatro
mm,
when I was little. And then, but harp, when he brought me to New York, we shared that beautiful moment with him because he started to play more harp, and we both started learning harp at the same time in New York. So it was in '94. It was really an amazing time with him. And then I met just for the first time. I was like, wow, who's Duke Ellington? And then I started listening to Duke Ellington, and then Miles and Charlie Parker and Mingus. And it was like, wow, what is this whole thing? And then I started going to the Cuban jams in New York. Now there's none of them, but before there was a lot of clubs where you can go and sit, and they were playing really great music and dancing. And I just came to them, and one day I came to Nelson Gonzalez and said, "Hey man, can I sit in?" And he told me, "What do you play?" I said, "I play the harp." And he
mm.
left, and he started laughing. "Now, man, do you play something smaller? You see everybody's dancing in the club." I say, "Man, don't worry, I go squeeze on the side. I have my mic. You don't have to do nothing. Just let me play. If it doesn't work, I leave. And it's okay. Nothing happened." He said, "Okay, come bring the harp, man." And
Mm,
Wednesday I came and played the harp with this Cuban jam, and then after that, every Wednesday they call me, "Oh, bring the kid, bring the little kid to play the harp." I was every Wednesday there. So all this New York scene helped me so much to develop this instrument in this music and this style. And then one day I met Paquito in a party in awards, and then he said, "Man, what are you doing next Friday? Come to my house. Bring your harp. We're gonna have a flute party." And I say, "Well, okay, wow." And I was like, "Paquito, yeah, let's go." And it was amazing. I think my life changed because of the way he is. He's so giving to any musician. He tried to help him, to help anyone, and just the way he plays, the way he talks, the way whatever. It's just inspires so much a lot of musicians like me, and he helped me so much to put me in the right moments, to play the harp. I think give me. I'm very thankful to Paquito, and then after that, all the crew.
long list. I know it's a long list. Hey, do you have some music that reminds you of those times when you first arrived to New York and you felt that welcoming embrace from some of these musicians? Do you have maybe a piece you could play for us?
I don't have it here. I cannot play it because of the instrument, it's very limited to play really jazz.
Yeah.
But I remember when I arrived a Friday night, and then on Monday my dad took me. I arrived in Babylon in Long Island,
Yeah.
and they okay, let's go register for high school. And I went there, and the first thing, okay, you play music, and they took me to a rehearsal. and they were playing a big band. They were rehearsal Take the A Train by Duke Ellington. That was
Uh,
my first contact with jazz. Like, what is this?
okay.
And I was so memorized, like with that sound, you know. And later on, I started, looking who was Duke Ellington and all this. And I think changed my life because in jazz you improvise a lot, and llanera music you improvise the whole time.
Okay.
So it connects right away, you know.
That's great. That's great. Is there some type of a jazz standard or a jazz improvisation that maybe you could share with us? I'd love to hear you play some jazz harp, my friend.
I can play a standard that is possible on this instrument. Hold on, let me retune here quick. I play it in my way, but
Yeah.
you can. This is standard. All right, enjoy. You will know the name.
All right.
All right, that was I don't
Awesome. Yeah. So the leaves will be falling, right?
Yes, man.
What is it? The autumn leaves?
I don't live. Yeah, I don't live.
Awesome. Well, not yet. It's still summer. Let's enjoy what we got left of the summer here. And thank you again for playing and sharing your music with us. Now let's dive into some of these questions. Thank you, participants, attendants, for sharing so many questions. You're getting lots of love. Maybe you can see that there, Edmar. They're loving your music. So
Okay.
and your stories and everything. So congratulations on all that you've done, and thanks for sharing with us. So, for example, here's a question for you. Travel. What's it like traveling with a harp? How much does it weigh? Is it metal infrastructure? Is it a very fragile instrument?
Like everything I have to do with this instrument, I have to create a way to carry the harp on our airports and planes, you know. So I create a flight case, very strong and not so heavy. I tried many cases before, wood, fiberglass, everything, and it didn't work, And then finally, I got this amazing case that it fits the shape of the harp, and it's very light, and it's 25 kilos.
Okay.
Pass a little bit of the limit of regular pack. And then you just have to pray. I see so many things from the window when you check in on the plane. You go inside and you see when they put in the bags in the plane. Is Sometimes I don't know if I should wash or not. But sometimes I need proof in case they break it. You
Yeah.
just see all these little card bags full, and my harp under all these bags. So you can imagine the weight on top. But thanks God, it's in one piece, and it's crazy sometimes in connections it get lost. Usually when you do connection in Italy, the harp disappears.
Oh,
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
oh
But,
no.
and then you have to smile to the person that you check in. You say, "Hey, how you doing?" So they don't charge me too much money.
Yeah.
Routine.
Okay. Great. How many months of a year do you travel when you're touring?
When it's active, maybe 6 months, 7 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Another question we have here about your work as a composer and an artist. What do you use musical notation when you compose? Do you do it by ear? What's your process like as a composer?
Yes, I write everything after I compose. I usually start always with a groove, and then I write the melody on the groove. I never write melody and then groove. I usually I get inspired by any group, let's say African music, and I start groove, and then I start looking when I feel the chord progression and the groove is happening. Then I write melody on top, and then when when I want to do depends on the arrangement, like orchestra or trio or whatever. I just write the notation for everyone, so we all can talk the same language quick.
So, and the groove, is that something you're hearing in your head, or is that something you're working out on your own or dancing? How do you feel that groove?
All depends on whatever I get inspired. It could be sometimes I went to Brazil and I got inspired by rhythm. So I put that rhythm there and then I start writing on top of that rhythm. And I just start grooving, on the harp and try to find a nice grooving uh, chord progression.
Great, great. And we have another question about harps. I know you gave us a little brief introduction to different harps around Latin America. Is there a difference between the Venezuelan llaneros harp and the Colombian llaneros harp?
No, like I said before, it's the same music. Llanera, joropo is the same music. I know Venezuela has a different music, like Colombia has a different type of music.
Yeah.
But llanera music is the same harp, the same cuatro, the same maracas, the same kirpa, zumba que zumba, pajarillo, all this is the same.
All right. Okay. And how do you maintain your virtuosic playing? How many hours a day do you practice?
I don't practice anymore like before. Before I used to play a lot, when I was in high school and college, I didn't stop, playing. Right now, when I have a recording or tour, that's when I practice, and then I just rest the hands, so it could be ready. But depends, if I'm not touring, I practice home. If I'm playing a lot, I just rest.
Gotcha. So, uh, when you started playing, let's say when you came to New York City, uh, was your practice, your habits and practice, was that different than what you do now?
Yes, yes, it was very intense. I was trying to, you have all this inspiration and and energy and all this, that you just want to get it all together at once. So I was playing in college. I remember in high school, I used to wake up at 6 a.m. and play 1 hour before I went to high school. And then the classes I didn't like, I just come home and play harp and then come back.
All right. And you memorizing standards, preparing lead sheets. I mean, what kind of stuff did you have to do?
When I was in high school, I was learning all these different rhythms, different tunes to play in this restaurant because I used to play every night, for
Wow.
a day. So I have to play, boleros, tangos, everything, So I remember that I used to play. I know, like someone asked me in the table, "Oh, can you play Bésame Mucho?" I said, "Okay, I play Bésame Mucho. I play the theme, and in the middle, I just improvise and get all this information from college, like, and then I play the theme again, and we all good. Everybody's happy." So I had the
Cool.
opportunity to really experience and to see what happened, in front of people and in that moment.
All right. So we've just got a few minutes left. I have a one more Q&A that I want, and then we'll close out with another couple of questions that I have for you. So, do you play any other instruments?
I studied trumpet in college. I graduated as a trumpet player, but there's too many trumpet players on earth. So now
Hmm.
my son Samir, he's 9. He's playing trumpet. I play a little bit maracas. I play cuatro. I play a little piano, but what I play is harp.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Oh, just got another new question came in. Great. Thank you. Keep the questions coming. We'll get to as many as we possibly can. Here's a question about when you're playing the harp, can you also include percussion while you play, like tapping on the body of the harp or?
You can do this. I usually do it when I do like bulería and stuff like that. Yeah, I think you try. It's whatever happens in the heart in that moment. You go with it. Just
Okay.
to be
I
free.
noticed in some Mexican jarocho music where they also play harp, I've also seen them, have one person playing the strings and then another person sitting near the base of the harp and playing the body of the harp as if it were like a cajon, a box drum or something.
Maybe that day happened. I don't know if traditional it doesn't happen like that, but
Yeah.
maybe that day someone.
This was in Mexico. This was
Yeah, no.
jarocho.
Jarocho music, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Jarocho music is very similar to joropo.
Mm,
Have the same, not the same, but it's very similar. That's the
okay.
most similar to Colombia and Venezuela. Yeah,
Fascinating.
Peru is more like metal strings, and the harp is like a big boat, very light. And they play in the mountains, with like 10, 15 saxophone players and one harp.
Mm, wow.
Imagine?
We have another question about your harp. So what kind of what's it made out of?
It's pine. It has cedar. They have different harp, different wood. It's all your taste.
Okay. And is that typical of different regions, depending on where the harps come from?
No, I think it's just whatever I mean, like I know cedar is more warm, but it's very delicate and can break really easy. So they use different ones for this. I don't remember the name of this one because it has to be really strong, for the curve. But yeah, it's your choice.
All right. All right. Well, we're just closing out, and we've had requests for more music. So I think for closing out this World Music Institute at home session with Edmar Castaneda, would be great if you could play us out with whatever you want.
Yeah, okay. I want to thank you, everyone that has been here, that share this music in this moment with us. I hope you got inspired and had distract from all this craziness in the world. I want to play this tune, and actually, I would like to pray for you that you keep going in life, that you keep strong. Everything is gonna be okay. We just have to keep together and enjoy it, your families. Be blessed. And I'm gonna play this tune titled "Jesus of Nazareth." Thank you very much.
Thank you. Woo.
Thank you so much.
Amen.
Yes, thank you so much, Edmar, and thank you so much, Jay, for this wonderful evening and for having us in your homes. Thank you all of our guests and attendees for spending your Friday with us, your Friday evening. And I want to say though that we were planning on having Edmar perform in our season, and we still are committed to that, and we look forward to having everybody live come together for a real life experience. And it was just such a great time that we had, and we learned so much. And thank you, everybody at home. Have a wonderful weekend, and we look forward to seeing you again at some other at-home experience. Please stay in touch. Visit our website, worldmusicinstitute.org, and also Edmar's website, since there's a lot of great information and videos on that as well. Thanks so much, and see you again soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night.